Hello, this is Chucky from C. Delano Photography, and today I'm going to give you a quick review on the Meike 50mm 1.7 lens. Now, yes, you heard me correctly, that is Meike, and I decided to go onto YouTube to determine how to pronounce this because I'm not a native Mandarin speaker. So over here at My Life Farrar, there's a guy that pronounces a lot of the Chinese names like Yongnu and Meike and Newer. So if you haven't had a chance to go over and hit up his video to determine how to pronounce these Chinese words. Now, on the recommendation of Dustin Abbott, I decided to go out and purchase a 50mm 1.7 lens. It is a manual focus, and I went downtown right as the sun was going down so I could catch a little bit of that nice contrasty light and some low light situations to see if I would be able to focus with this manual focus camera. Now, I have my Lightroom here, and I will show you all the pictures that I took. Now, I will tell you that on some of the backgrounds, such as this right in here, if you look at some of these, you can see that it's not quite in focus. And I was using focus peaking, and for some reason, the camera was showing the focus peaking as in focus, and I was zoomed in and magnified, and for some reason, it still didn't come out in focus crisp and clear. Now, that wasn't every single one of my pictures. If you look at this one right here, that one's out of focus. If you look at this one's out of focus. But then when I turn the camera vertically, you can see that it's nice and crisp and in focus. So I had a little bit of difficulty trying to focus with it with the focus peaking. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the characteristics of this particular lens. Now, this is one that I shot inside. It was really dark. I cranked up the ISO. Let's look at it right here. It's ISO 6400. I'm not sure why I shot that at 1/1000th of a second, but I wanted to use some high ISO to show you what kind of grain and noise it produced. These are straight out of the camera. Then I went down the street and let's go back to the fit here, and I picked some contrasty alley that had the moon out right here, and you can see it's really light on top and really dark on the bottom, but it was able to pick up a lot of the detail in here without much problem. I was focused in on this particular telephone pole, and as you can see, it did a pretty good job of making sure that I was in focus, but this was nice and contrasty and nice and bright. I stopped over by a fire hydrant to see how close I could get and to see how much I could get into focus with the f1.7. And as you can see right here, wide open, it did a pretty good job of making sure that this was in focus and everything else is out of focus. As you can see here, it's got nice creamy bokeh in the background, and it's able to pick up some nice low-level lighting here. I brightened it up just a little bit so that you could see some more detail in here. I'll zoom in. Does a really good job with the shallow depth of field, making sure that this is all sharp. As we can see, I was focusing in on some of the weeds right here, and it is super smooth in the background. This is where it had a hard time. For some reason, it just would not pick up the focus. I had the focus put in right here. That's where it showed on the focus peaking, but for whatever reason it was not in focus. Then I turned it vertically, and all of a sudden it became in focus and was extremely sharp. Let's move to the next one right here. This one also is sharp, and once again sharp. And so I turned it horizontally again, and for some reason this time it showed that it was in focus. So I'm not sure why these two were out of focus. Let's zoom into another one right here. Let's go out to fit. I was focused on this edge right there, and as you can see, that's really sharp. Very little noise in it, and the out of focus blur is nice and smooth. There's a little bit of chromatic aberration on this in the green. And let's look at some of these other photos. As you can see, it's picking up a little bit more noise. Let's take a look at some of the other out of focus items here. I specifically looked at some lights so that you could see the out of focus in the bokeh balls, and as we get to the edges you can see it has the cat eye, and right here in the middle it's beautifully round. So that's just a problem of this lens. It goes super cat eye as soon as you get out from the center. This was a low light shot right here, some strange sculpture that's in Grand Junction. As you can see, it is really sharp throughout there. The out of focus has lots of chromatic aberration on it. And let's take a look here. Another shot of all the lights. I'm zoomed in here, and because this is more centered right here and it's completely out of focus, you can see the bokeh balls are round, but if the lights were to go off here, it would have been a little bit more cat eye. The other thing that you notice is it's a little bit chaotic as it gets out into the corner. So I would say, all in all, this is a great lens. I would say to take a lot more pictures than you want to, because sometimes the focus peaking just doesn't seem to be super accurate with this lens. The camera can't pick up the contrast points on it. In the middle, the bokeh balls are really great, so you can use this as a portrait lens. This would be really great in the middle, and then if you just cropped out some of the edges on here, it would be a fantastic lens. So all in all, I'd kind of give this a hearty 4-star, maybe 3.75 star, just because if you can't get the focus peaking to accurately represent where you're focusing, you're going to get a lot of blurred images and out of focus images. This is Chucky from C. Delano Photography. I hope you liked this video on the Meike f1.7 lens for the Sony FE camera. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and just hit me with a comment if you want to see something specific. Take care.